Hi guys. So here is that pizza dough recipe I've been raving about in past the dinners we ate in September. So the recipe came from David Rocco. Us New Yorkers with our pizza, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not too happy with the other recipes that I've tried for pizza dough. And Publix makes a pizza dough that's already made, and it's still not to my liking, to my standards, my New York standards. And I figured, I'm like, you know what? If anyone's going to be able to make a good pizza dough recipe, it's going to be someone from Italy. And David Rocco, I think he's still in Italy. Um, I was like, he has to have a pizza dough recipe. So he does. And I like it because it also has minimal ingredients, which I guess all pizza doughs do. But instead of sugar, he asked for white wine, which I was very, very surprised. So the first time I was very skeptical when I was making it. How is this going to taste? Are you going to taste the wine? Blah, blah, blah. But I think the wine, because it is fermented and it does have yeast in it, adds extra air bubbles. So the dough came out crispy and light, and I'm not the perfect roller, but for a New Yorker, so far this homemade pizza was the best that I've had. And we had my sons had a friend over one time when we were eating the pizza, and he's like, wow, this is the best pizza I've ever had. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. That is awesome to hear. It was like the angels opened up in here, and I'm like, I think I nailed it. So we're gonna make this recipe today. And of course, I never followed the recipe. So because he's, fresh from Italy, or fresh still in Italy, he pretty much does the flour on the table, the well, and you add your wet ingredients and you start mixing with your hand. So he does it by hand on the table. I'm going to use my bread machine, and this is the best $20 I've ever spent. This bread machine is an Oster. Oh, I have no idea how old it actually is, but I went on a Facebook buy-sell page for my neighborhood or my neighboring neighborhoods, and someone was getting rid of it for 20 bucks. She left it on the porch. I slipped 20 bucks on under her mat. Took my bread machine. It still had the box and the booklet in it. And I've used, no, have I done that pizza dough recipe in there? I think I did, and I wasn't too happy with it. But yes, I've managed to do a quick bread, which I followed the recipe book, the booklet that comes with this. And then I've just done the dough option. So obviously the pizza dough, and I made the pizza doughs in here. And I've done cookie dough in here too, chocolate chip cookie dough. So that was always fun. I really gotta try to do more things with it, but the best $20 I ever spent. And so we're gonna do this recipe today. So it asks for 1.5 cups of lukewarm water, which I'm gonna do. I'll put that in there. And then it asks for 2.5 teaspoons of dry yeast. And you know what? One of the things about, the other countries, they got fresh stuff. So he actually asked for like a cube of fresh yeast. So I really would love to find, where do you find fresh yeast, especially here? Tennessee. So that's my mission. I'm going to see where they find fresh yeast, because I did make a sourdough starter, and I don't know if that's going to be the same. And I know when it comes to sourdough starters, you really have to let it sit for a long time. So that might be something I might play with one day. Not now, because we want to eat this for dinner. So 2.5 teaspoons of dry active yeast. Again, 1.5 cups of lukewarm water. And then I'm going to put that in the machine. Like I said, I'm not doing it on the table like he does. And then I will add the flour after the yeast mixes with the water a little bit. I'll add 4 cups of flour. And I'm going to do the 1/2 cup of white wine. I have some Chardonnay here, but I don't know if I have 1/2 cup left. So then I bought Pinot Grigio. I hope that's mixing wines. And then you add the 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And that's, and a teaspoon of salt. Did I say that? I don't remember. Anyway, and then I'm going to let the machine do the rest of it. And then that was it. So when I tried it, and we've done it twice, it came out really good. So yay, I think I got it. So this is the third time. So let me get that all started for you. So there is the 1.5 cups of lukewarm water and 2.5 teaspoons of dry active yeast. And then I'm just going to let that sit there for a few minutes while I start putting together the rest of the ingredients. So I'm going to add 4 cups of flour, and I have my organic bread flour, my King Arthur organic bread flour. So that worked out really well with the last 2 pizza doughs. So you're going to hear these ingredients over and over again. The 1 teaspoon of salt, and I have the pink Himalayan sea salt. And the reason why I use pink Himalayan is because it has not been processed and bleached and therefore stripped of its nutrients and minerals, the trace minerals. You have, yes, they remove them, and iodine and, magnesium and all sorts of them. I don't remember exactly which ones, but that gives you, and your body likes this one better when it actually is stripped. Little health tidbit. When you do buy processed stripped salt, and sometimes they add the iodine back because iodine is very beneficial for thyroid health. It's not natural, so your body responds differently to it. And they say that that's also is what helps with raising the blood pressure. Regular salt, real salt, pink Himalayan sea salt, and those colored salts, your body is getting benefits from it, and therefore it doesn't contribute to high blood pressure. So that's stuff that I read and I believe. Yes, and then back to the pizza dough, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then 1/2 cup of white wine. So I'm going to do the flour first. So there is the 4 cups of flour. Oh, Alexa, off. I have a timer set for the grass outside. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay. 1 teaspoon. Yeah. Goes in there. Okay, and then I'm going to pour the wine. So let me use my 2 hands. 1/2 cup of white wine. And I just freaking spilled some all over my David Rocco book. I anointed it. Oh my goodness. So 1/2 cup of white wine. Unbelievable. And I did have enough Chardonnay for that. I didn't have to open up the Pinot Grigio. And then I just need the 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I can start the dough. My husband's going to think I've been drinking here. He's going to smell wine all over the counter. So 2 tablespoons of, I put avocado oil. It was supposed to be olive oil. Damn. I'm so used to grabbing the avocado oil, but I guess that's okay. Oil's oil. Obviously, geez, I can't even talk. Olive oil obviously has a stronger flavoring to it. So this is obviously a light flavor and won't add much to the dough. But anyway, I messed up again. So I have it on the pasta dough setting. One day I want to do real pasta in there. That is one of my missions. So this is going to go and churn for 1.5 hours. So I'm going to start it, and I want you to see how it goes. See, and it just starts moving. This thing is awesome. And then I'll show you when it gets to like a doughy part. I use a spatula sometimes to push down the flour that, might not be getting in there, because it is a little paddle. But I love this machine. I really have to learn how to do more with it. Pasta would be great. I really do have to make my own pasta one day. And I got to try to do other breads. I want to make sweet Portuguese rolls one time. Those things are delicious. So, yes, I'm going to clean this up, get the wine smell out of here, and then I'll show you, parts of the process of this dough. Look at that. It's only been 5 minutes, and you got the dough already pulling together. But I'm just going to scrape down the sides to help it out a little bit. And then it'll stop and then it'll heat up slightly so that, the yeast can help rise, and has this whole process. So it actually does puff up quite a bit by the time it's finished. So you'll see that too. But great little device. Love it. So there it is. Look how much it rose. So now this one recipe, because of 4 cups of flour, makes 2 pizzas. The first time I made it, I didn't know that, and because he makes individual pizzas, so he separates it into little 8 mini pizzas. So I actually made 2 batches and made 2 pizzas, and they were 3 inches thick, like a Sicilian, which wasn't bad, but it was all bread. So now I know one recipe makes 2 pizzas. And then I try to roll it out to get it even. But what I do now, because it's about 3 p.m., I'm going to separate this into 2 balls and put them in bowls with a little bit of olive oil, so that, keeps it from sticking to the bowl. And then I'm going to let that sit there with one of those tea towels over it just to rise some more until I'm ready to roll it out for dinner at dinner time, which would be about 5 o'clock. I'll probably start rolling it out. So I'm going to do that. So there you go. I separated it into 2 bowls, and I drizzled a little bit of olive oil on top, because I'm going to roll that in there before I start rolling that out. This step is not in David Rocco's book. It's not part of his recipe. I kind of did that. I want it to rise more and get airier, which it did. So now I have my little tea towels. I'm going to put them on there and just leave them there for about 2 hours until I'm ready to roll them out, which will be 5 o'clock dinner time. They are sticky. So when I do roll them out, I'm going to need a generous amount of flour on the counter there. So, yeah. But it was worth it. It definitely was worth it. So while I'm waiting for the pizza to finish rising, it is almost dinner time. I'm going to make my pizza sauce. I don't remember where I got this recipe from. Have no clue whatsoever. So I know there used to be more ingredients like olive oil or fresh garlic, I think. But over the time, I just used the 5 ingredients. So it's a can of tomato sauce, which I do have to go to Costco because I love to get their organic tomato sauce, but I got this in Publix. It's a no salt one. I'll probably be going to Costco real soon. This is an old jar that I had of onion powder, and I just keep refilling it with onion powder that I buy in bulk from either the Urban Market or Savory Spice Shop. So I just continue to use this jar. I think I got this one. The original jar was from BJ's in New York. New York. And then this is the Costco. I want to put it in a glass jar. But anyway, this is the Costco garlic powder. But I keep refilling this with garlic powder that I buy in big bulk too. So that's actually not Costco garlic powder, just the container. And then this is organic cane sugar, and then some oregano that I dry from my garden. And that's pretty much all you really need. And then of course salt and pepper. No pepper, sorry. Salt to taste if you need salt, especially since I have a no salt. I'll taste it. Chances are I probably wouldn't put salt in it at all, but literally, I mean, I just kind of pour. That's probably about a tablespoon, and then a tablespoon. So onion powder, garlic powder. I don't use the salt. I don't use onion salt or garlic salt. I use the powder. And then about a tablespoon of sugar. And then, oh, there's some twigs in there. Some oregano. Crush, crush, crush. And that's pretty much that's probably about a tablespoon also. I might put a little more. My oregano didn't do too well this year. It got so hot, so it's not a big plant. Anyway, so that is my pizza sauce. And then I'm just going to brush it on the pizza when I'm ready to roll it out. Okay, so it's a little after 5 p.m. and they rose again. Look at that. You can smell the wine a little bit, but then again, that yeast gives an alcohol kind of smell to it. So I have my flour here. So I'm just going to flour my surface, my little rolling pin. I need a bigger one. But that, you know what, that one does fine and it fits right in the drawer. And then I got my 2 Pamper Chef stones. Now I'm going to grease it a little bit with olive oil. But one thing I noticed when it came to pizza making, I've tried those aluminum sheet pans and I've tried the pizza stones. Actually, not a pizza stone, but the stoneware pans. And I noticed the stoneware pans give it the crunchy crust, whereas the aluminum trays, the sheet trays, whatever you call them, they keep the underneath of the pizza soft, and we all did not like that. We like it with a crunch. So I use the stoneware. But yes, I'm going to flour them and roll them out and put them in there. So there they are, rolled out. They actually stretched really easily when I threw the flour on the counter, and evenly, that I didn't even use the rolling pin. But I'm just going to let them sit there because I still have about 30 minutes before I'm going to actually cook them so that we can eat. You set the oven at 450 and they literally will take like 12 to 15 minutes to cook. They get nice and crispy. So yeah, I'm just going to let it sit there. The boys are all coming home now. And so probably in about 30 minutes, I'm going to throw it in the oven. We usually eat dinner around 6:30. So they could just sit there until I'm ready to throw them in the oven when everyone's settled in and ready. But yeah, so they'll probably puff up a little more and rise a little bit more before I put the sauce and the cheese on. And of course, I'm using Costco mozzarella cheese. And I might actually shave some Parmesan on there, see what I have in the refrigerator. But yeah, looks good. There you go. So it's almost 6 o'clock. The natives are getting restless. So I'm going to put the temperature to 450 and get that going. And now I'll dress the pizzas. Yeah, like I said, this sauce, I have no idea where I got the recipe from. Long time ago, all these bloggers I used to follow, and someone posted it. I remember it did ask for like olive oil or garlic olive oil. I almost say garlic. And I used to, but then after a while, I'm like, I don't even know what the olive oil does. So I just kind of stopped using it. And I think it did call for fresh garlic and some garlic powder, but I just made it easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and just used the garlic powder, something very quick and easy. And even my boys learned how to make this so that when they're home and they're hungry and I'm not home, they'll take like leftover Italian bread or leftover Italian bread, or English muffins, and just make pizzas. But they'll take the can of tomato sauce and they'll just make their own pizza sauce, and they don't have to wait for their mama. All right, so I'm going to finish spreading the sauce, and then I'll put the cheese. And there they are. They're dressed. Mozzarella cheese, and I put some pecorino romano in there, just a little bit, and then some fresh basil. I think I didn't divide the dough very evenly because that one's thinner, smaller than that one, but that's okay. So they're going to go in the oven, and it's about maybe 15 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes. I just keep checking to see when the crust is golden. And when you lift it, you'll see it golden underneath. And then it'll be done. I wish you can smell them. Oh my God. They're done. So I kind of always wait until the cheese is melted and starting to get golden. And then, of course, I feel the crust. But then I kind of always look underneath. And you can see that it's a little golden. So they are ready. Nice and airy. Yeah, the other pizza doughs that I've tried before were just too dense. And I guess, one of the things that I've done with this pizza dough is obviously you're not going to eat this dough quick enough. I mean, this is a dough that just has a process and you just got to let it do its thing. And I guess that is definitely worth the wait. One of the things I do want to try is after it comes out of the bread machine, would I be able to freeze it and then rise it, let it rise, for hours after it's thawed, and if it will come out with the same consistency. Because sometimes I do like to make multiple pizza dough balls and then freeze them. So that's something I just got to play with. And of course, I still am on the hunt for fresh yeast. But there they go. And then I'm going to slice them up and we'll eat them. And there it is. Delicious. Wait, Michael, I want you to bite into it. Whoa, did you hear that crunch? That's Michael and Matthew.
Okay.
So, yes. How's it taste?
Hot.
Oh, it's hot. Yeah.
That's hot.
But the dough?
Tastes good.
Yay! Light and airy, and it has a nice crunch to it. That is the perfect New York pizza. So definitely try this recipe. Let me know how you like it, and I'll see you in the next video.